It is a land of ancient stories and modern ambitions, a place whose name evokes images of sun-drenched beaches, colorful festivals, and a history etched in stone. But beyond the familiar postcards and headlines, there exists a world of profound complexity and quiet everyday beauty. This is Mexico. From the sky, it reveals itself not as a single entity, but as a continent in miniature. It is a nation of two vast coastlines, where the turquoise waters of the Caribbean meet the deep, powerful blue of the Pacific. It is a land of formidable mountain ranges that form its spine, of dense, humid jungles that guard the secrets of lost civilizations, and of high, arid plateaus where life adapts to the rhythm of the sun. Its landscapes are home to sprawling, hyper-modern cities that are among the largest on the planet, and to quiet colonial towns where the passage of time is measured by the slow chime of a church bell. This is a country built on foundations laid by some of the world's most brilliant ancient cultures, a place where the echoes of the Maya, the Aztec, and the Zapotch still resonate in the language, the food, and the faces of the people. It is a story of collision and fusion, of a world forever changed by the arrival of the Spanish, creating a culture that is a rich, intricate, and sometimes contradictory tapestry of indigenous and European heritage. To truly understand Mexico is to look past the stereotypes, to listen to the quiet rhythms of daily life, and to discover a nation not of one story, but of millions. This is the story of how people live in the country everyone thinks they know. In the cities, the first hum is the distant murmur of traffic, a sign that the metropolis is stirring. But in the local neighborhoods, the barrios and colonials, the morning rhythm is more intimate. It is the sound of a gas truck making its rounds, its distinctive jingle, a familiar part of the urban soundscape. It is the scent of fresh bread, the sweet, warm aroma of conchas and bolos, drifting from the local panaderia, a cornerstone of every community. Life here is lived on a human scale, even in the largest of cities. The morning routine is a ritual of small, meaningful interactions. It is a trip to the corner shop, the Taita de Quina, for milk and eggs, a place where the owner knows your name and asks after your family. It is a stop at the local market, the mercado, the vibrant, beating heart of the neighborhood. Here, under a sprawling roof, is a universe of color, sound, and life. The air is thick with the scent of fresh cilantro, ripe mangoes, and simmering spices. Stalls are piled high with pyramids of produce. Butchers call out their daily specials, and women skillfully press corn masa into perfect tortillas by hand. The mercado is more than a place to shop. It is a social hub, a place for connection, for gossip, and for the reaffirmation of community bonds. Family is the undisputed center of the Mexican universe, the anchor around which all of life revolves. It is not a nuclear concept, but a vast, sprawling, and deeply interconnected network. It is common for multiple generations to live under one roof or on the same street, creating a powerful and resilient support system. Sunday is a sacred day, reserved for family gatherings. It is a day of loud, joyful chaos, of uncles debating soccer around a grill, of children playing under the watchful eyes of their grandparents, and of the abuela, the grandmother, presiding over a kitchen that produces a seemingly endless feast. This deep-seated devotion to family fosters a culture of interdependence and mutual support that forms the bedrock of the society. Tradition in Mexico is not a relic of the past. It is a living, breathing force that shapes the present. The culture is a rich synthesis, a product of the monumental indigenous civilizations and the profound transformative influence of Spanish heritage. This duality is the soul of the nation. It is visible in the grand plazas, or zocalos, of colonial cities where magnificent cathedrals, built with stones from dismantled Aztec temples, stand as powerful symbols of this complex history. This fusion is most vividly expressed in the country's religious and cultural festivals. The Day of the Dead, Dia de Muertos, is perhaps the most iconic example. It is a celebration that transforms grief into a vibrant, life-affirming ritual. Families build elaborate altars or a friend in their homes, adorned with marls, candles, and the favorite foods of their departed loved ones. Cemeteries are transformed into places of festive gathering where families share meals, play music, and tell stories at the graves of their ancestors. It is a beautiful expression of the Mexican belief that death is not an end, but a continuation, and that the bonds of family transcend the physical world. Music is the ever-present soundtrack to Mexican life. The powerful emotive sound of mariachi, with its soaring trumpets and heartfelt vocals, is a symbol of national pride. The music of celebration, of courtship, and of sorrow. But the musical landscape is incredibly diverse, with each region possessing its own unique sound. From the accordion-driven norteño music of the north to the mima-laced folk songs of Chiapas, this deep sense of cultural identity is a source of immense pride. It is a pride in the nation's revolutionary history, in its world-renowned art, and in the resilience of its people. It is a tangible connection to a heritage that is both ancient and constantly evolving, a shared identity that unites a nation of incredible diversity. The Mexican economy is a complex and dynamic engine, a reflection of the country's immense diversity. In the industrial heartlands of the north, in cities like Monterrey, a powerful manufacturing sector produces everything from cars to electronics for the global market. This is a world of modern factories, of global supply chains, and of a highly skilled workforce that is a key driver of the national economy. Agriculture remains a cornerstone of life for millions. The vast fertile plains and valleys of the country produce a rich bounty of crops, from the avocados of Michoacán to the coffee beans of Chiapas. For many, life is tied to the ancient rhythms of the land, a cycle of planting and harvesting that has sustained communities for centuries. This is often a life of hard physical work, governed by the sun and the rain, a direct and profound connection to the earth. But much of the country's economic life takes place on a smaller, more local scale. The streets of every town and city are a vibrant marketplace. Street vendors are an essential and iconic part of the landscape, selling everything from fresh squeezed orange juice in the morning to tacos and roasted corn in the evening. Small family-owned businesses, the local mechanic, the neighborhood tailor, the family-run restaurant are the lifeblood of local economies. This spirit of entrepreneurship and self-reliance, of finding a way to make a living, is deeply ingrained in the national character. Tourism is also a major economic force, particularly in coastal areas like the Riviera Maya. While it provides vital jobs and income, it exists in a world often separate from the daily realities of most Mexicans, creating a complex dynamic between economic necessity and the preservation of local culture. The cost of living in Mexico varies dramatically, reflecting the country's economic and regional diversity. In major urban centers like Mexico City or Guadalajara, the costs can be comparable to those in many European or North American cities. Rent for a modern apartment in a desirable neighborhood can consume a significant portion of a professional's salary. A growing middle class has access to modern supermarkets, international brands, and a wide array of consumer goods. However, in smaller towns and rural areas, a different economic reality prevails. Here, life is significantly more affordable. A family might own their home, built and expanded over generations, or rent a simple house for a fraction of the cost of a city apartment. The daily economy is based on local production and consumption. Groceries are purchased not at a hypermarket, but at the daily mercado, where prices are lower, and the connection between the producer and the consumer is direct. A filling home-cooked style lunch, known as a kita-kita, can be bought from a small family-run airy for just a few dollars. For the average family, managing the monthly budget is a careful balancing act. Salaries are often modest, and many people work in the informal economy, where income can be unpredictable. Transportation is a key expense. Whether it's the cost of fuel for a family car or the daily fares for public buses and colectivos, utilities like electricity and cooking gas are essential costs that must be managed carefully. Healthcare is a mixed system with a public option that is often overburdened and a private system that is unaffordable for many. It is a reality that requires resourcefulness, careful planning, and the crucial support of the extended family network. In Mexico, food is more than just sustenance. It is an expression of love, a celebration of history, and the centerpiece of social life. The cuisine is a direct and delicious reflection of the country's heritage, a culinary tradition so rich and significant that it has been recognized by UNESCO as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity. At its heart is corn, the sacred crop that has nourished the people of this land for millennia. It is the foundation of the tortilla, the humble essential bread that accompanies nearly every meal. It is the base for tamales, steamed parcels of masa filled with savory or sweet fillings, and 1,000 other dishes that vary from region to